Hello, welcome to Revelator Alf, another live session from the workshop. I've got my coffee in hand. Always need a mug of something in the workshop. Well, you're probably looking at a mug as well. Anyway, right. Thanks for joining. So this is going to be a bit of a bitser workshop live. Basically, bits and pieces I'm going to be discussing. So I suppose I've got the live stream going, obviously, because you're watching me live. But if you're watching this later, just leave your comments below, and I'll dig into those and hopefully answer as many as I can, if any come through, of course. Also, the same for the chats. Let me put the comments on. There we go. I'll just put the any comments down. Thanks to I can't remember who it was. It could have been Frank or somebody like that. Mentioned that in the previous live streams, I've had a banner to remind people to go into the chat, but it blocked off a lot of the view of the workshop table here, so I've removed that. But say, just leave any comments, make any comments in the chat here, and away you go. Right, Carl, hello. Got to get back to work. Watch you later. Well, enjoy your work. Enjoy work. I'm on the day off today, hence why I'm in the workshop. Right. So first things first. I think what I'd do. What's on the menu today, as it were? Well, first of all, the project build, which I finished many months ago, and I rode for a while, as in just having a bit of fun, as hitting some trails, and anytime I had a bit of time off. But then I blew the engine, right? So I blew the engine out on a ride. It just suddenly, nothing happened, and so I've split it apart about, I don't know, 5 or 6 times now, top end mostly. I did a full rebuild of it, but anyway, so this was before I put it back on the road. So had lots of problems with it. I thought the engine was completely kaput. It's a really old tired engine. I'm kind of massaging everything I possibly can just to get the last few miles out of it, if you know what I mean. But basically, I've taken it out of there 6 times. I've had the top, just the valve cover off about 15 times, and it's been a combination of really poor markings on there, really tired, worn out components, and just this is the Kawasaki one, but old manuals of bits of information which I've managed to get, because it's a Chinese engine, that basically that engine is got bits and pieces on it. I have no idea where they've come from, basically. So I've managed to, I think, finally get this sorted, but I'm not sure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give that a live startup. Now, bearing in mind, I have already started this, but everything wasn't buttoned up. In other words, the exhaust wasn't on, all the cowlings weren't on, the fuel tank wasn't on properly, the rear, the chain to the rear wheel hadn't been all set up. So basically, this is the kind of first startup proper. Fingers crossed, we'll see how we go. Right. So anyway, yeah, no more comments there. Anyway, so basically, I'm going to be starting up that engine and going over a few things like, God, suddenly I'm hot all of a sudden. Don't know why. Right. Overnight, what have I done? Just throw that there. Overnight, what have I done? Right, first of all, let me just get rid of this manual here. This is just a bit of a word of warning, I suppose. I think I've talked about this in builds when I did the project build, that Riehu, which is a Spanish bike this one is with a Chinese engine. A lot of these Spanish, a lot of the Riehu bikes use nowadays, the modern ones, more using liquid cooled engines, and they're based off the Yamaha engine, Yamaha WR engine, I think it is. Anyway, but this is a air-cooled engine, and it's based off a Honda CG125 Honda Japanese engine, of course, but this is purely a Chinese engine. The problem is, it's not necessarily a bad thing against Chinese engines, but it's the literature that did not come with it was hard to find, put it that way. So I've managed to get manuals that cover part of the engine, then other manuals that cover other parts of the engine. So I've got lots of digital manuals that cover it. Anyway, it's been a right pain to get that sorted out. It was, sorry, let me put that away. It was a pain in the backside just to get it sorted the first time, and it was actually a pain just to keep on trying to find the right numbers. But I'll discuss more about that anyway. Right, so overnight, what have I done? In the last live session, you saw me strip down the carbs. Basically, I've put all the carbs back together, and I've given them a lick of paint as well. Well, spray painted them. I've taped everything up and closed all the orifices, as it were. But what I also did, I put new bolts on there, top and bottom, on all of them, basically like that. And do you know what? I was having so many problems with the old screws on there. There, you probably saw it in the last live stream. Having to get my hacksaw out and cut a groove in so I could get them out, and there's a pain. So basically, I thought, right, that's it. I've had enough of this, and I'm gonna listen to my own advice, which is to replace the screws that they were. Right. So I went to my local tools and fixing supplier. I suppose I could say who they are, but then again, I don't want to give any advertising when I suppose I really shouldn't. But there we go. I'm not getting paid for anything. This is not a promotion video. But anyway, so I went and got loads of different sizes. I got some M4 hex, and I'm using all hex Allen heads, mixing Allen heads, or these other type, which are kind of rounded type. So I've got M4, M5, M6. I've got a load of M5 and M6 washers as well. And the ones I've used on the carbs are these type here. Let me get that closer. There we go. Right, so obviously Allen head. Yeah, and it's, let me turn it around. There, hope you can see that there. I can't remember, but I think they call these button screws. Hold on, let me have a see if they say it on here. No, it doesn't actually say what they. These are actually made in India, would you believe? There you go. Right, but I think they're called button screws anyway. Button head screws, maybe. But it's basically just got a hex Allen bit in there, and I just think they're so much better. Either that or a Torx head. I think it's so much better than a Phillips type or flathead type screw. I just, I think they can all round off eventually, can't they? But I think it's just anyway, that's what I've done. I've basically replaced that. Just for you guys who are, never in the workshop before, and you kind of, I say, if you watch my kind of live shows recently or videos when I talked about different things, I kind of talk about trying to be organized as possible, right? So keep your area clean, get trays, to hold everything in, all that kind of stuff. Another thing that I do is, I know it's a silly thing, I know. And those of you, are long in the tooth like me, thinking, "Oh, this is really rubbish," right? But those of you don't know. If you got old spray cans, right? Rattle cans, spray cans, yeah. And you've used them up and thrown them away. Keep the lids. Keep the lids, because the lids are great little containers for screws and everything. They're great when you're breaking down engines, because they're a receptacle to keep all your screws, right? Or your nuts and bolts or whatever that. So that's one thing. They're great for painting. Let's say if you need painting, just put a bit of paint in there and just, brush it on, whatever. Not necessarily engine builder, but anything you want to do. They're great for mixing things. If you have to mix any kind of filler or anything kind of some kind of resin, epoxy resin or whatever like that. Put it all in there, and then as long as it doesn't react with the plastic lid itself, of course, and then you've got something. It's all contained, it's all clean. And they're great for the shelf. If you've got a shelf, you know, if you want a little parts bin or whatever. So I can't say this, very simple, but you know, there we go. Anyway, I thought I'd mention that to you. So anyway, that's what I did. I went to town, and I thought, right, I'm gonna get all these new fixings for the carbs. At least I know I won't have to be concerned about it, or whatever I decide to do with them. At least I know they're all fine. I've gone through all the carbs. I've given them a good old clean with carb cleaner. Went through everything. Oiled the oil seals in there. Unblocked everything. The fuel filter, pin valve or needle valve for that, so they're all clear. So they're all good. They're all working fine. And if you look here, if I show you there, that is basically there. At the top, they've got a diaphragm. I thought they're too tired, I think, and I still think they're tired. But the problem is, for a set of diaphragms on top of there, those diaphragms help to push down the slider, right? I think we're talking about 40 or 50 pounds or something like that. I can't remember. I mean, bearing in mind a set of, you know, 4 carburetors, you're talking, this is used, by the way, 200, 300 pounds. I don't know. It depends if you're lucky enough to get them cheaper, of course. And there's no guarantee that they'll be, you know, they won't be, well, they might not even be usable. So, you know, you take a risk really. So these are Mikuni carbs as well. So anyway, I've gone through them, stripped them all down, blown through all the orifices, and basically they're working okay, fine, touch wood. You won't really know until you actually get them, you know, put them all back together, get them on an engine, and away you go. However, the reason I'm bringing this up is because one of them I'm missing, and I knew this anyway, but I forgot to mention it in the live stream. One of them, I'm missing the jet needle. It's the needle that protrudes out of here when it slides up and down like that. And that is what opens and closes the main jet, if you know what I mean, or allows the fuel to go through the main jet, which I talked about in that live stream yesterday, I think it was. So I say this is a diaphragm. You can see it's really tired or worn. I think these are not. I'm trying to see if they'll work without me having to spend the money on putting new diaphragms. You know, I mean, the sensible thing would be to get new diaphragms, of course, but you know, I'm not this sensible that much. And if I can save a bit of money, I will, if you know what I mean. But anyway, listen, so I needed a new jet. I didn't have one for some reason. It was missing, and it was missing when I got all the box of bits, basically, for this. So I've had to order one. I think it was about £10 just a needle, and £5 or something just to have it delivered. Absolute daylight robbery. But there we go. I mean, anyways, you know, I need it. I'm not going to complain about it. I need it really. I found it really difficult to find the parts, but here's the question for you. And let me just check out the messages here. So thanks for all the videos you uploaded. Thank you for everything I learned from you. Oh, thank you. I'm Ed. Thank you very much. You're welcome. And Ed, hello. Morning to you. You're over there, aren't you? Morning. Right. So this is for anybody watching now or anybody watching in the future. And let us know if you know the reason. And I don't know the reason why. Okay, so I'm going to tell you. So this is the manual, which is for my project, another project bike, which is a Z750 Kawasaki Moriwaki build. This is the manual, right, for the Z750 Air4s. These are the carburetors that were on that bike, right, or engine. Okay. For this particular bike, this is a 4-cylinder, right? There are 2 types. You've got the KN type carburetors, and you've got the Mikuni type. I've got the Mikuni type. That jet needle, as I said, that goes through. Okay, you can see it possibly right there in the manual there. Okay, right there. You notice there are 2 types. Now this is a common thing, right? 2 different. Where are we? 2 different types. there. So one is for the UK models, and the other one is for US models. Now, I don't know if it's strictly for UK versus US models, or it's because of this is where I got the manual from. If you're, let's say, in Italy and Spain, it might say for Spanish models and US models, or if you're in Italy, it might say Italian model, you know, that kind of thing. However, we got two different types, and I don't know why. I don't know. Everything else is the same. Everything else is the same, but I actually don't know why there are two different types of jet needles. So if you guys know, and if you're watching this later on, why there are two different types of jet needles, I don't know. I mean, do you know what? I was just thinking about it yesterday. I thought, do you know what? It's not anything that it's not that I haven't come across it before. I've just never really asked the question. I've just thought, oh, okay, you know, it is what it is, you know, kind of thing. But I just don't know why. I mean, I assume it's got to be to do with fuel metering. It's got to be to do with some kind of the amount of fuel that's allowed to go through, some kind of emissions thing. But I don't know. I'm guessing. I have no idea. I mean, that would kind of stand to reason why. But anyway, so that's the reason. That's the reason why I brought that up, really, because I thought, well, you know, why is there a difference between the UK and the American bikes? I do not know. Anyway, listen. So those are the carbs. They've all been said. They look quite. They look quite snazzy now, don't they? I think you can, you know, when they're all put back together, they look pretty good. They look pretty good, right? So they're all in this tray here. You can see down there right now. These are all the screws and fixings are all done there. I sprayed up all the brackets as well, those kind of things. So basically, it's just ready to go. I haven't put them apart. These are the old screws, by the way. They're Phillips. Oh, again, I can't remember who it was, but thank you. Somebody in the last video, last live session on the one before, actually said invest in a set of JIS screwdrivers for carb rebuilds, you know, with the Mikuni or the Cayenne ones. And they make a lot of better fit. Yeah, I mean, I keep on meaning to get a set myself. The problem is that, you know, especially with old carburetors, you know, it's somebody's already rounded them off a lot of the time. So anyway, you know, that's why I've changed to the hex. I much prefer the hex ones, but there we go. Right. Okay, so I can't really do anything with these carbs now and with that engine. The engine on the Z750 has already been put back together. That's all. Well, it's not working because I haven't fired it up, but it's turning fine and it's all buttoned up and everything's good to go without actually starting it up. And it's got compression and everything like that, so that's all sorted. Can't do anything with these carbs until I got that jet needle, and then I'll put that back together, and then I'll reassemble these. And again, or you know, you just follow that. As I say, if you're ever unsure about these, before you start taking anything apart, always take loads of photos. Take a video, take a photo with your phone or whatever. Right, that's that. Let me get rid of that. Okay. So the next thing is, the next thing was the engine start. Now, so this Riehu Marathon 125 actually went on to the, this is a problem with forums, or this is a problem with Facebook groups and stuff like that. It's not a problem. It's just, you think that there'd be somebody out there who's got the answer. And the problem is, because this particular bike is a bit of an odd model, nobody knew the answer. Well, basically, it wasn't an answer. I was basically asking, has anybody got a spare engine, an old engine of this particular bike? And they were all quoting the liquid cooled engines, you know, just get yourself a Yamaha engine, all that sort of stuff. And I kind of had to explain to them, no, this is the air cooled engine. This is not. Anyway, long story short, but this is possibly whilst it's such a small little engine, it's the one that's given me the most grief in a long time. And sometimes you think, I really can't be arsed with this engine. You know, you want an engine to, you know, never break down, but then something does happen to it, you can fix it straight away and everything goes like clockwork. Unfortunately, I think as in life, things don't always work out that way, do they? Right. Anyway, so I put it back together. Should we see if we can start this up? Right, shall I open up it's raining outside here, by the way, so it's I was going to go and take it out for a test ride, but I thought, I'll do a live show instead. And I don't want to wet my hair and everything. But do you know what? Should we get it started? All right, let me just slurp a coffee. Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. Right, so you can watch this later. Let me just turn that around a little bit. There we go. See if I can open up the blinds here. Get a bit more light on the subject. There we go. Just have to be careful with all the cables that I've got over the floor. This is one of the reasons why I was, I think I posted a while ago, I did a video basically saying that, I'm looking for a workshop, a proper workshop studio. That's where I'd like to go. And I'd love to do this kind of live session on a regular basis, to do more real, what's the word I'm looking for? More realistic workshop type stuff. The studio would be for general stuff anyway, making videos and that kind of stuff, but also to say, like tomorrow, for example, I've just been to the Harley dealership and I've got some transmission primary oil, new oil filter and stuff like that. I'll discuss that in a minute, actually. But also I've got oil coming through as well. But as I say, no, I won't be able to do it tomorrow because it'll probably take a few days for that engine oil to arrive. But I'll discuss that in a minute. But I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, so anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I want a proper workshop where I've kind of got 360-degree access around, but, much more bigger space, so that I can do live sessions and like do a job from start to finish. And whilst I know it kind of goes against the whole YouTube thing to make it as compact as possible, I think sometimes if you're kind of doing this kind of thing and talking your way through it, and also giving people a realistic idea of how long a job is going to take, then I quite like that. I've made a few videos recently in the past sort of 6 months where I've done like, what have I done? I've done brake pad changes. I've done, this is on the Harley, by the way, brake pad changes, wheel alignment stuff. What was the other one? Oh, clutch adjustment, that kind of stuff, simple stuff that's not too intrusive, but kind of filmed it and then, just told you exactly how long this actually took. So I think that's a good idea to do that. Right. Anyway, so yeah, I think I've lost views. I'm probably the only one who's watching it. But listen, if you're watching this later, let's start this up. Right. Fuel on. Ignition on. Oh, by the way, yeah, what I did do with the battery, I delayed this, putting it all back together again, because I repaired the battery with my battery repair charger, and that took nearly 48 hours, would you believe? But there we go. Right. Let's have a look. Got my manual choke on. Start up. Haha, it starts no problem. Blimey. What a result. What a result. So that starts no problem. I thought I thought, because the last time I started up, it started up fine without the exhaust. As soon as I put the exhaust on, I thought, okay, maybe there's a problem with back pressure here. That's the bishop said to the actress, and I thought maybe there's a bit of problem with back pressure here. Maybe that's why it's causing problems. It wouldn't rev properly. I knew it was a top end issue with the bike, and that's why when I got the engine out and put on the workbench here and I showed it, I kind of stopped. I was prepared to go do a full strip down again, which I don't want to do if I don't have to. If you don't have to split things apart, then don't do it. You know, if it's unnecessary, don't do it. But anyway, so I got to the bottom, to the top end, taking off the cylinder, taking off the piston and all that kind of stuff. I thought, you know what? I think this is a top end issue. This is a timing issue rather than anything else. And yeah, I think the problem is I got a weak cam chain. I've got a weak cam chain tensioner. I've got a cam that isn't that great. I've got the guides, cam guides, or the bushings, I should say, or the not the bearing. It's the what's it called? It's a collar, basically. It goes the end of the cam and it just rotates in it. That's worn. The cam is a little bit worn as well. And obviously the piston rings, you know, it's very tight. It's very tight. So I thought it's basically a process of elimination until I got it sorted out. And the problem is the workshop manual, it was just all over the place. You know, it wasn't really giving proper information. Well, it was, but it was just all over the place. You know, it wasn't. You look at the pictures and you say, well, actually, that's a bit different to the one I've got. And then you look at the cam and you say, well, okay, they're saying that there should be a mark there. And when you're looking at it, so there's no mark there. And you say, well, okay, there should be a mark on the timing gear at the top. You say, no, there's nothing there. So now you start scratching your head. You think, oh, okay, well, what's going on here? So then you think, right, okay, hold on. And this is what I did this morning. I basically said, right, hold on. I've been trying to go with the manual, a manual that is actually not accurate according to what I've got. I've been trying to follow it, and it's just not right. Okay, so for anybody who's ever in this predicament, right, you've got a manual that is supposed to be for your bike, but for whatever reason, you're not seeing the same picture. It's not the same. You've got to kind of step away from the manual element. In other words, just doing everything by numbers, and then actually think about this logically and think about what's going on. So you say, right, if the engine has been split apart, you've got a crankcase timing mark, and that'll be on the magneto, so you can see it through the little peephole window on the end of the outside of the case, right? Or if you take the outer casing off. It depends which system, what kind of setup you've got, but basically you're going to have some kind of timing mark. You're going to see, right, has that, it should, let's say if it's a magneto or, you know, flywheel type thing, it should go on the crankshaft in one particular position. But if there's wear on it, it might have twisted. So therefore, that might even be inaccurate, where your timing mark is on your crankshaft. Okay, so you think, right, how can I make sure that timing mark on what you think is coming off the crank shaft is exactly the same? The only way to do it is to take your spark plug out of the cylinder, and rotate the engine until the piston comes right to the top dead end center. You know, you can stick I don't know. It's not a great suggestion. I know maybe something plastic would be better, but something through there, and you just wait until it goes right to the top. Keep on rotating, and you'll see where it starts to come back down again. So instead of going off a timing mark, go off the actual position of the piston in its topmost position. Right. From that point, then you've got to say, okay, what do you want your valves to be doing at that point? In other words, what do you want the valve in the intake to be doing, and what do you want your valve in the exhaust to be doing at that time. Right. So for example, on this particular bike, there's one camshaft. The camshaft is like that, right? And you've got the lobes that go around. There's one for the intake and there's one for the exhaust, right? So basically, when you're at top dead center, okay, when that basically when you're at that top dead center, that should be both those should be, the valves should be closed. So basically, on that compression stroke going right to the very top, it should be the end of the point where the valves are closed. Okay, so you've got to work out when you put your camshaft in, if there are no markings on there, you've got to say, right, okay, that valve, that lobe coming up, it's basically going to come up, it's going to push up a rocker, let's say, and it's going to, open or close the valve. So if the lobe is like that and it's not activating the rocker, that means that valve is closed. That valve is closed. It's only when it activates the rocker, let's say, and it pushes down on the valve, that's when it's going to open. That should be the next cycle, as it were. Okay, the next stroke, as it were. And basically, when you've got that combustion, when you've got the compression stroke, where you don't want the valves open because all that gas, fuel air mix, is just going to be pushed out and without ignition. And when you're basically having combustion, you don't want those valves open because it's just going to come out. Really, you're going to lose all that power. You want all that power, that explosion, to be pushing down. So that cam has got to be at that point where it's not activating the valves, as it were, for those 2 points. So when you're right at top dead center, that's when you're at the end of the compression stroke, when you're going to have spark, you're going to have ignition, the explosion, as it were, in the cylinder. It's going to drive it down for those 2 points. 1, 2. Okay, whilst there's a bit of overlap and everything, you got 1, 2 for that's another story, but you don't want those valves closed. So if you haven't got timing marks, or you think there's something quite wrong, you've got to make sure that piston's at top dead center and that your cam and the lobes are not activating the valves, the exhaust valve or the intake valve. Therefore, when it comes back down and then it comes back up, that's when, at the end of the combustion stroke and it's coming back up for the exhaust stroke, you've got to make sure that valve is activated or open for the exhaust. But the intake is closed. Okay, so because you want everything to go out and then it starts again. I know that's a really terrible explanation, but basically what it is, you basically, what if your manual isn't quite right, or if your engine markings aren't quite right, or you've got a different type of engine, or whatever it is, you can't find the literature, you've just got to look at this engine as, what is it supposed to be doing? What is it supposed to be doing? Right. Okay. Where is, in a single cylinder, it's so much easier to understand this than on a multi-cylinder engine, right? But in a single cylinder engine, once you found that top dead center, the highest piston position, right, then that would be at the compression stroke, where it's compressing all that fuel air mix, right? And right at the top of that, pretty much, that's where you have this spark, and that's where you have ignition, combustion, explosion, combustion, and that will drive the piston down. That compression stroke and that power stroke, what we call power stroke, come down. You don't want the valves open, you want them closed. So that's where, if you're not sure where the cam position should be, you should just think about it logically and think, right, where do the lobes need to be? How is the valve rocker arranged on your your valves, let's say, how do they operate? How does the cam operate the valves? Now, do you have a cam at the bottom of the engine? Is there there are push rods that do it, or is it a cam chain that comes up and does it? So do you have an overhead cam? Do you have a a crankshaft cam, whatever? The process is exactly the same. You just need to know where's that cam position and at what point in the rotation is it activating the valves. And that's how you finally work it out. So my mistake was that I was trying to go off this manual that isn't quite right for what I've got here. And then I thought, hold on a minute, what am I doing? Why am I doing this when I should just be going back to basics and basics of that? So if you're ever in this position, right, that you've got a manual for whatever reason and it's not quite right, or this is the other scenario, you've got a manual and it is correct, everything is correct, but for some reason you're not getting that timing, that retiming right, okay, then you think, right, okay, if you've got all the markings lined up here, there, and you've split this engine apart a few times and you've replaced a crankshaft and all this sort of stuff, and you put it all back together, and you think, right, okay, or it's a really old engine, really old bike, a project bike that you've built, that point that somebody's opened that engine in the past and they've put it back together. You don't know if they put it back together properly. So you've just got to, again, if you've got a manual that's correct or a manual that's not correct, you've always got to look at the engine and look at this in a kind of very logical sense, as it were. You've basically got to say, right, where's that piston supposed to be? It's supposed to be at this position, right? What do the valves need to be doing at that point? When the piston is at the bottom position, bottom dead center or top dead center, that kind of thing. When it's in its lowest point or its highest point, what should the valves be doing? And that's the key here. You've got to be thinking about where. So basically, on the intake stroke, the intake valve will be open, the exhaust valve will be closed. So that's intake. That's sucking all air fuel mix through the carburetors or your induction, whatever module. You got an electronic fuel ignition, induction, whatever. That's sucking fuel air in. So only the intake valve should be open. Then the compression stroke, both valves should be closed. So that compression. And then for the power stroke, you're going to have both valves closed. Right, so it's closing, so it's burning it into the power stroke, but right at the bottom of the power stroke, you get what is called valve overlap, where valves start opening early, and that's just to help exhaust gases or intake gases as well. So you got the power stroke, and then you've got exhaust stroke, where the intake will be closed, but the exhaust valve will be open, and then everything goes out as well. Okay. Again, I'm terrible at explaining something if I haven't actually got it in front of me to show you. But the point of this is that sometimes you'll be working on engines, on old engines, whatever it is, but bikes, let's say in this case, and it for some reason it's not happening for you. You can't get it to work. It sounds horrible. You got a horrible tapping sound. It's it doesn't quite right. You go and start it up, and something. In my case, the bike was running fine, absolutely fine. And then all of a sudden, something just slipped in there. And I thought I'd fried the engine, and it just wouldn't start at all. Completely fried it. And basically, it was the cam chain that caused everything to slip out of alignment. And that was a problem. The cam chain is really old, or there's a cam chain tensioner, I think, that gave in, and then all of a sudden created extra slack, which caused the cam to slip out of sequence. It jumped in there, and then eventually the cam chain just came off. So that's it, really. It's taken me a while to multiple times getting the engine out, multiple times getting the valve cover off and resetting the timing until I had to work back on everything until I could say, right, this is what I need to do that, logically think where in the sequence it should be. Okay. And you can see there, it's fine. It's an old engine. It's an old tired engine, but it'll run put it that way. It'll run. Right. Anyway, so how long have I been going? 40 minutes. There we go. It's not bad. So this is the live session from the workshop. Really, it's probably not a good idea. I've just thought about this. Probably not good to be starting an engine in a closed room, you know, with no ventilation. This is why I need a big workshop, really, to have more ventilation. But there we go. Right. So, well, all I can say is that the engine is it's back. I feel quite chuffed. The only thing now, I need to give this a bit of a wipe down as well. I could get rid of all the grubby marks, and that's it, really. There's nothing else I can do in here, as I say, for these carbs. That just needs to. I just need to wait until I've got all the bits and pieces back. It's a bit of a bugger that jet needle was, you know, was lacking. Let's put it that way. There we go. Right, so that I just need to do that, stick that there, and then I'm just going to put all my nuts and bolts away, and that's it, really. Oh yeah, the Harley stuff. I knew there was a reason I was lingering about. Right, so I'm kind of just prepping for the engine oil change, the transmission oil change, the service. Basically, I've just hitting 20,000 miles, over 20,000 miles on my Harley. You know, it's never caused any problems, but I thought I'd start getting some stuff together, which is it here. Yeah. So I went to my local dealership and I got new oil filter, and obviously all the sump plug O-rings, right? They came together. Right, it's interesting. The oil filter is hold on. Sorry, the oil filter is £15.47, but with VAT, with tax, value-added tax on it. I think, oh crikey, I think it's in the region of, £17 or £18 or something like that. It's definitely gone up, but you know, I think all prices have gone up, haven't they, and everything. But it hasn't gone up as much as I thought it had. I thought I paid a lot cheaper, but I spoke to the chap there and he went through my order history, and I think it's gone up in about £2.50 or something like that. Interesting enough, the Formula Plus transmission and primary oil or fluid, oil or lubricant is exactly the same. There's no change in that, so that was interesting. Now, I've got a video coming out talking about change and life changes and all that, but also basically it's a metaphor for service and oil changes. So I was looking at different transmission primary fluid as well, but I thought, do you know what? I'll just go with this again. It's not too bad. Next year I'm doing 5,000+ miles a year. Well, I think I'm doing about 5 a year. I suppose about 7,000 miles. I don't know, something like that now. But I was going to try a different one. But as I say, I'm kind of looking for alternatives, really. But the reason why I've gone for this is something else. I'm going to show you what I've done. If I can just bear with me, what I've done. What did I order? Right. Here we go. 20. There we go. Right. So there. Right. So it's this one here. Right. Right. I'm going to share a screen with you. Share screen. Chrome tab. This one here. Right. So hopefully that's, yeah, there we go. Right. So this is, Get rid of that. This is what I've opted for. There we go. And that is a 2050 weight. It's Castrol engine oil, which I've got, and it's basically the mineral oil. Now, the reason why I thought, you know what, I've been using mineral oil. I've been using the HE360, which is a mineral oil, right? The Sin 3 is a synthetic oil, so it's whether to stick with the mineral oil or to go with a synthetic. I was kind of and an ahhing, but I thought, you know what, one last time I'll go for a different brand, and I'll go for this one, quite brand. And this, we've got to understand this. We're in the UK, what we can get hold of. You know, lots of people talk about AMSOIL and stuff like that from the US, but for us over here, well, as far as I can tell, it's really expensive and it's all imported. Whereas we've got local stuff. If we go to our oil, the usual places you can get engine oil over here, they have like sort of generic stuff, 2050 oil. They have you know, like classic oil, classic sort of engine oil for classic cars and all that sort of stuff. But I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to look for V twin oil and stuff like that. But anyway, I did a bit of searching around, and it's not necessarily that this is better than any other. But look at this. Look at the price. The price was £23.48, which is about, I don't know, in dollars, about 30 odd dollars. You know, so even with shipping, that's 27, so about $35 for 4 liters, which is what I need, really. So I thought, as I'm doing, get rid of that now. There we go. So I thought, as I'm doing just a mineral oil engine oil change, I thought, right, I'll stick with that. So the question is this, right? There's a good reason why I brought this up. If I went for Sin 3, which is a synthetic oil, Sin 3, you could actually put that synthetic oil, that 2050 oil, into the primary and the transmission. And it's a 3 oil transmission. It's the same oil. You can put it all through. Right. So I'm assuming then, if I went with another brand and I went and got a synthetic 2050 oil. So let me just show you this. Hold on. Here we go. Let's have a look. So here, let me see if I can share this with you. Hold on. Share screen. Yes, yes, yes. Chrome tab. Butyllin. No, that's not it. Is that it? There we go. Right, so this is a Butyllin Formula V. This is a twin 20 weight 50. That's only for a litre, right? But this is a semi-synthetic. Or let me just try another one here. Let me just try this, which should be stop. I'll stop sharing that. There we go. There was another one which, this one, that's a mineral-based oil. Hold on. Hold on. I'm looking for the oil that was fully synthetic. Here we go. Is this it? No. Okay, so that's mineral oil. Here we go. I think this is it, right? So this is, oh, that's a mineral oil. God, what's the matter? This is terrible viewing for you. I do apologize. Mineral oil. Ah, this is it. No, that's the mineral oil. God. Okay, wherever it was. Mineral oil. Okay, let's go synthetic. Crikey. No. There we go. There we go. Right. Okay. I just pulled it up quickly on YouTube. Sorry, eBay. Crikey. Right. Sorry about that. Right. Let me just. I wanted to. The actual type of oil doesn't make any difference, but the point I wanted to make is here. This is a 2050 V-twin fully synthetic ceramic motorcycle oil, right? So if it's a fully synthetic motorcycle oil, I could use that on the primary and the transmission, couldn't I? So I wouldn't have to worry about this. So let us know. Here's a question for you. Let us know if you're using anything other than Harley Davidson oils in your Harley Davidson, and you're using the same oil for your engine, transmission, and primary. Which one are you using? It's got to be a synthetic oil. I don't think you can use mineral oil in the transmission and the primary. I'm pretty sure you can't. It's got to be a synthetic oil. And I think any 2050 synthetic oil, it will do. Let us know. Let us know. But anyway, Anton, hello. Hello. How are you? Oi, oi. After making dinner, I find myself watching, but I generally have no idea what's going on. It's not mechanical in any way. That's all right. You just come for the coffee, mate. You just come for the coffee. Anyway, so there's me raving on. What that's possibly the worst live session that you could ever have, isn't it? Oh, crikey! What an absolute donut. There we go. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. There we go. So, any of you guys watching then out there, tell us about a little bit about your synthetic oils for your Harley Davidson, especially for your Harley Davidson, whether you use mineral or whether you go fully synthetic. This time I've just gone for another mineral oil, and I'm going to use the same Formula Plus. But next time, I'm going to go for a fully synthetic, and I'm going to go for a fully synthetic oil for all three: transmission, primary, and engine. And basically, that's it. Now, so basically, you need around about 6 liters. Unfortunately, guess what? They only kind of do them in 5 liter, maximum 5 liters. So you either have to buy a 4 liter and 2 liters, or you might be able to find a 5 liter or a single liter as well, which is a bit of a pain, but there we go. Right. So I think there are a couple of things I need to get channel sponsorship now. I need to get channel sponsorship from any company, any company who is selling nuts and bolts and hand tools and everything like that. Yes, get in touch, and I'll do a lot more workshop stuff with your stuff. I'm joking, but also I probably need to get some kind of oil supplier to get in touch with me and say, look, we can do all this oil for you. So if you work for an oil company or selling oils, automotive oils, that kind of stuff, get in touch. Let us know, and I can start telling people about different types of oils, because that'd be really cool. Anyway. That's it. I'm sure everybody's. I don't know what time is it. yeah, it's 20 to 5, but it's still working, I'm sure. But listen, the engine, the righteous Riehu engine has been finally fixed after being given the complete flipping runaround by bloody manuals or parts on there. I just don't think that it should be on there. As I say, it's a completely knackered engine, tired engine, but it is working now, which is fine and dandy. That's all going to be pushed away into the corner. The Moriwaki build is well, it's on pause now. It's on pause, isn't it, for a while until that jet needle I can comes and I can finally put the carbs back together. Then I'll mount them on here, and then at least that'll be ready to go. It'll look like a nice bit of bench art anyway, so that'll be all good to go. So the next thing to do after that, yeah, I'll be doing my service on my bike soon when the engine oil comes, and hopefully I mean, I do want to do this. I'd love to do a live session of me just doing the service on the bike. And when I service on a bike, it's not just the engine oils, the engine, transmission, primary oil on the Harley, but I also go through the other stuff. You know, I check the brakes, I check brake fluid. Sometimes I'll, you know, it depends. I'll drain the brake fluid and do that. I do the head bearings or check the head bearings, make sure there's no abnormal play. I go through all the bike and try and lube things up as and where. This is, I'm talking general terms here and not just a Harley, but any bike. So I just don't do oil services, you know, I just, you know, obviously air filters. If I need to, I'll inspect it, have a look at it. Oil filters, that kind of stuff. So there we go. Morris, hello, thanks for moving the banner. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I think it was you, Morris, was it, or somebody else? Yeah, because I say there was a banner right there that actually said join in the chat, but obviously I had that removed because it was blocking a lot of this out the way. Right, so that's that. There we go. What else can I say? So this is pretty much it. So I'm going to be doing the service on the Harley as soon as I get the oil come through, the engine oil. I say I would love to do a live show on that, but I think it's just going to be where I do the service I don't do the service in here because I haven't got enough space. I do it in my garage over there. I think it'll be I don't know. I'll see if I can get the cameras to work properly, and I'll see about doing a live show, but I probably won't. But anyway, listen, that's all good. I'm quite. Do you know when you're kind of pleased with yourself? Over here, we kind of say we're chuffed with ourselves. You know, you kind of start tapping your back or slapping your back and say, "Yep, job well done." And as the shepherd said to the pig, that'll do. Yeah, I feel good about that. I think it'll last about another week before it breaks down again, but there we go. You know, that's the beauty of old engines, isn't it? But look, it roared into life, as you saw. It roared into life, and it's ready for action. Right, let me just put this away. I should have this on wheels, shouldn't I? And just brilliant. Right. Lovely. There we go. Workshop is open and free now. So I've got access to my desk at the back, access to everything here. And yeah, time to rock and roll. Just need to sort out my screws and my nuts and bolts and everything like that. There we go. If you're anything like me, you take great. This is really sad. I know you're going to look at me and go, "God, he's so sad." I take great delight in sorting out my nuts and bolts. I do. I just it's yeah, it's not exactly rock and roll, but there we go. You know, I find it therapeutic, just going through all my nuts and bolts and you know, sorting them all out. But there we go. That's something else, right? I suppose that's it. That's the end of the live show. I hope you found that entertaining at least. What I'll probably do, I mean, I'll see if there's anything else I can come up with. In there, I'll just, I don't know, I'll come up with something else. I'm sure I'll work through a few things. I'm always working in the workshop. I've always got stuff to do. I wish I hadn't. I'll tell you what I wish I hadn't have done. I wish I hadn't fixed my starter motor without doing it on film, because that would probably have been quite a good video to make, or possibly a good live show to do, to discuss and say, right, okay, here's a starter motor. Okay, how can you try and fix them? You know, and if it's not working, and I said I didn't know. I just kind of opened it up and had a go, really. And I think sometimes that's it. You can open things up and have a go. Sometimes it works out worse. You know, you probably shouldn't have opened it up. But I thought, well, there we go. Right, that's it. Time for me to go and have a top up of this, and probably have a shower, because I do pen and ink, I got to say. But thanks for watching. Thanks for all that sort of stuff. I say it is a work day for a lot of people, so I'm not going to expect anybody to be watching this, but I'll sort of do the live show anyway, so that, you know, you can watch it afterwards and all that kind of stuff. If there's anything you'd like to see in the workshop, or stuff that you want me to work on, or you'd be interested in me discussing or anything like that, by all means, let us know. Let us know in the comments, or send us a message, or send us an email, or whatever like that. If there's something that you want explained about the carburetors or anything like that, what I'll probably do, I definitely will do another live session with me putting the carburetors back together. Okay, so all those carburetors, putting them back together. So I'll definitely do another live session. So that'll be coming up, and then obviously there's lots of stuff on this new project build which I'm going to be doing as well in the future, but I'll probably strip apart those forks at some point. So I'll do something like that. I'll do some refurbing the wheels, that kind of thing. So I'll go through a few things, and hopefully you'll get something out of it, really. Right, anyway, it's been emotional once again. Hope you enjoyed that. Check out all the other videos. Actually, I think I prefer the live sessions these days. But anyway, listen, I may, would you believe, I may come on later tonight, or most likely it might be Thursday night. I might do a live session from in here, or Thursday evening, you know, 8 o'clockish, 9 o'clockish, whatever. Oh no, I can't. I've just realized that won't be possible for me to do Thursday night, because something really important going on Thursday, and Anton will know who's watching, but it's football. Gotta watch that instead. But I'll either come on Thursday late, you know, lunch, tea time, around about 5 or 6 o'clock, something like that, for an hour, 2 hours, or something else, or maybe I might do it late, really late, by about 11 o'clock at night or something. But anyway, there's other stuff to discuss. There's other stuff to go through. Other stuff that I picked up this week as well. But yeah, mostly about Harleys, actually. Some other stuff I've picked up, but wasn't sure if anybody else would be interested, so I haven't really mentioned anything. But there we go. Right, there's lots of stuff going on in the background. You know, I could say there's lots of stuff in my life that's changing. There's lots of stuff like that, and it's all ongoing at the moment. There's bike stuff going on. There's stuff with the channel. There's stuff with the website that's going on. It's not necessarily being secretive. It's just kind of debating. I've made videos that they're all ready to go out until the end of the month. debating whether to continue on, put it that way, with the channel. So if you're still watching this later on, you'll probably think, well, what's going on here? But I thought I'd let you know. There's lots of stuff going on, and there's lots of I'm kind of wondering, is there any point in having the channel anymore? But funny enough, I was watching a video yesterday, and very interesting. It kind of made me look at things in a different way. It kind of gave me encouragement to carry on a little bit. So it's very interesting, but I kind of, you know, you kind of keep on making stuff, making videos, and you're hoping people will watch them, but most of the time most people don't watch them. So you think, well, what's the point in making them? And then the point is that, well, you don't really make them for people to watch, you just make them because you want to make them. But at the same time, I think, well, no, you do make them because you want people to watch them. That's the whole point. You know, it's otherwise, if you just want to make videos because you enjoy the process of making videos, then you'd never upload them. You just put them on a computer somewhere and that's it. You know, the whole point of putting them online is that you want people to watch them. But if nobody's watching them and you kind of think, why aren't people watching them? That's where it kind of, you know, your mind starts working overtime and you think, well, why am I doing this anymore? But there we go. But anyway, listen, I think I prefer, in somewhat regards, these live sessions, so that, because all I need to do is hook up the camera to the computer and just talk away. And especially this live session's been a bit odd because I haven't actually been doing anything physical such, but if I'm, you know, working on a project in here, you know, it's good to share that as well in real time, which I think is good. I do have something else, another engine which I have to split apart, which I might do tomorrow actually, which is the lawnmower engine. So let us know in the comments if you watch it up until now. Let us know in the comments if you want me to split apart a lawnmower engine tomorrow and see what's going on, because engines are engines, right? Anyway, catch you again whenever that is, and have a good evening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of it. Thanks for all the support and all that sort of stuff. And all I can say is, well, ta-da for now. Cheers.